Okay, good. Hello, my name's Chris Pigg. This is the Black Pig printmaking studio here in Frome in Somerset in the UK. Today I want to talk to you about engraving plastic because it's funny stuff, it's tricky stuff. Most people find difficulties with it to start with. But I find if you persist with it, after say 2 or 3 years, I got the hang of it. And so, what I can tell you today is try and take you through some of those pitfalls so that you don't waste the time that I did. The problem is that most people find with Japanese engravers plastic is that they'll make a cut and they'll get to the end of a line and it just sits there, the waste just sits there, so you have to pick it off with your finger. There is a little trick to this, which is whereby if you let your blade go into the plastic and out again, just lift it up slightly at the end, the piece of waste will either come off quite cleanly or be very easy to pick off with your nail afterwards. So that's the main problem. One of the other problems with this stuff is don't try and do areas of white at all. If there's a large area of your composition that needs to be white, you need to cut it out because it's a world of pain trying to level it out so that the roller won't pick up on it, because it always will. It will always look rubbish. So what I've learned over time is the best way is to think of it like you would as a Victorian engraver, which is carve lighter areas but don't go all the way to a pure white. So say for instance you can use big wide scorpers, so long as there's something for the roller to catch on, in other words, so that a texture's laid down that you want to be there, that you want the roller to catch up on, you'll be alright. If you try to clear it entirely, it's just terrible. So say for example, Louise Hayward is a good example of somebody that uses Japanese engravers plastic a lot, and she succeeds with her negative spaces by cutting the block up. Okay, so if she's got a large area of white, she'll just cut it out if she's trying to addition. It's the only way to do it. The advantages, though, it has got quite a couple of good advantages. Like, so say for instance with this piece, which I'm working on at the moment, right? This is a scene of a kitchen in Frome, one of the best restaurants I've ever been to in my life, which is the High Pavement. I had this composition ready-made. Here it is. I'm working from a photograph, right? And I was just thinking, oh God, I just so want to get to this quickly. And I was just thinking, well, if I wanted to do it in wood, I would have to then email the block maker, Chris Daunt, and tell him the proportions of that which I wanted in maple, which would have been a dream, which would have been lovely to cut. But it would have been a week or a fortnight or something like that before the block arrived, and it would cost me 150 quid, whereas this stuff is quite cheap. Also, the other major advantage with it, and this I really can't understate, is the fact that you can ink up this and send it through an etching press, so you do not have to faff with pressure and so on, and because it's always difficult even with a nipping press with something this big. It's just tickety-tock with an etching press. It goes through a treat. So those are the advantages. It took me a long time to learn how to use this stuff, and it is quite unforgiving. It will take a very, very fine line, but if you just remember that you can't do any kind of void, any kind of white area without cutting it out completely, then you should be all right. It's a good way in to doing engravings on a larger scale at an affordable price.